What if I told you that your entire retirement plan is built around a system designed to keep you working as long as possible? It doesn't matter how much you save, doesn't matter how hard you work, because the truth is, until you change the way that you operate financially, you're going to wake up every day in the exact same situation. If you don't believe me, let's talk to a guy by the name of Phil Connors. If you've seen the movie Groundhog Day, you know where I'm going with this. All right, so in the movie, Bill Murray's character, Phil, he wakes up every morning to the exact same day. No matter what he does, he's stuck in a loop, reliving the same routine over and over and over again. Sound familiar? That's exactly how doctors, dentists, attorneys, other high-income professionals operate with their finances. You wake up, you go to work, you make money, you pay taxes, and you take a little bit away each month and you stash it in a 401k. Then you wake up and guess what? You do it all over again. And here's the kicker. Just like in the movie, nothing changes unless you change. But unfortunately, most people don't. They keep running the same playbook, thinking that if they just save a little bit more, work a little bit harder, see a few more patients, see a few more clients, or hit that next milestone, it's magically going to fix itself. Spoiler alert, it won't. Now, unfortunately, this whole system that we are put in, including myself until I realized what was happening, is designed to keep you working. Let me give you a perfect example. Let's take Dr. T. He's a 42-year-old dentist. He's been practicing for, let's say, around 15, 17 years like that. And he's got $1.2 million saved between retirement accounts and investments. Sounds pretty good, right? Okay, here's the problem. He's trapped in a system where he has to A, keep working. Why? Because he's 42. We'll get to that in just a second. Number two, he has no clue, like most people have no clue, what he is spending every month. I'm talking about personal expenses, monthly household expenses. And then number three, regarding the way that he's investing his money when it comes to retirement, he's afraid of running out of money. Always in the back of his mind is, have I saved enough? Has I saved enough? Because traditional retirement planning is based on what? Traditional retirement planning is based on the ugly four-letter word, hope. I hope I have enough money. I hope the stock market is up whenever I get to that point. And all that fear, all of this fear right here, if you're feeling it too, it's deliberate. Financial advisors and Wall Street, they want to keep you and me working. The longer you work, the longer I work, the longer they make money off of us. Think about it. Let's say that you go and you sit down with your financial advisor. Let's say he gets out of dental school. He's like 27, 28, and they're asking him about his situation. He says, you know what? When I'm 45, I want to retire at 45. Well, if they put a plan together to get him to that point, they'd be cutting themselves off from decades of fees. So instead, what do? They sit you down, they run all these fancy scenarios, Monte Carlo simulations and all the other crap, and they tell you, well, if you work until you're 63, you only have a 72% chance of running out of money. But if you go a few more years longer, if you go to 67, based on what you told me that you wanted a lifestyle to look like, there's a 92% chance you'll never run out of money. But if you go to 71, there's like a 97%, and they just keep us working, okay? It keeps you working. It keeps you focused on that, focused on the accumulation. They confuse us. They confuse you on purpose. Does that piss you off? It did me when I started to realize this. They make you and they make me think this whole thing is just too complicated to figure out on your own. You're a dentist, you're a doctor, you're an attorney. But yet they're saying that you're a dumbass when it comes to money. And so what do? You take your money and you work every single day and you hand it over. You're handing over your financial future to some 25-year-old who just passed a 2-week financial advising course. How do I know? I've met these people here in my hometown in Louisiana. That should piss you off. Again, because it pissed me off when I realized that. So for me, my wake-up call wasn't financial at first, it was actually physical. Let me explain. When I was 40, I'd practiced for about 10 to 12 years. I had a skiing accident, injured my hand. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying to me. If Jeff couldn't work, use his hands, I couldn't make money. Yeah, I knew that, but you never think about that till it's taken away. What is that old song? You don't know what you got till it's gone. That's what it was. Back then, Jeff had one income stream. And if that was dried up, I was done. That's when I started digging into how wealthy people actually build their money, how they get wealthy in the first place. I found three things. So we'll just put right here, rich folks. What do rich folks do? Number one, they're not earners, they're owners. What do they own? They own assets, okay? They own assets. Go ask any rich person. They're not going to say, I do this, or I am that, I am a doctor, I'm a dentist. They say, oh, I own companies, I own businesses, I own real estate. Which leads us to number two. They don't have one income stream like a dentist. They have multiple streams of income. The average millionaire has anywhere from 7 to 9 streams. And number three, something that we really don't think about, we actually think it's great to pay more taxes because that means we're making more money. They don't do that. They pay little to zero taxes. Just these three things. Think about your financial situation right now. Do you own assets that pay you multiple streams of income? And with this income, are you paying little to no taxes? Probably not. Back then, when I checked myself, I didn't. I had none of that. So I decided that right then I had to change. That became my why. I had to get myself situated so if I couldn't work, my family was taken care of, which leads us to the escape plan, how you and I can break free. Now, if you don't want to wake up in the same financial situation every single day, just like on Groundhog Day, you need to break the cycle. That's why I've come up with an escape plan. It's very, very easy. Step number one, know your expenses, your personal expenses. That's going to be your number. Financial advisors are going to say, what's your number? Is it 7 million? Is it 10 million? Is it 15 million? No, know your expenses for real. Most people have no clue how much they actually spend every month. It's very, very simple. My wife and I, we have dedicated credit cards for personal expenses only. Makes tracking very easy. We simply log into that account or those accounts. We go to December, we run an annual report and it comes up with a number and you divide it by 12, you have your monthly burn rate. So for instance, if you run your numbers and you've got 120 grand on a credit card and let's say you pay 3 grand a month for mortgage because you're not going to put your mortgage in your credit card, then that's $36,000. Then you may have, if you have a business expenses and things like that, food or travel, whatever, you can put that back in there. Let's just kind of round this off and let's just say that's 10 grand. So that's going to be what, $166,000. May want to just bump it up just a little bit. Let's just say 170 grand. 170 grand divided by 12. Let me do a little bit of math. 170,000 divided by 12 is about 14,200-ish. Let's just round that off. Let's just say you need about $15,000 a month of income, passive income coming in. That's your number. Isn't that in your mind a lot more attainable than 7 million or 10 million? Which again, I got a little ahead of myself, which actually this leads us into step number two, set passive income goals. We just did that. We just went through our expense. You got to know your expenses first. Start off with just $1,000 a month. Even if you get, let's say yours is 15,000 a month. Even if you just do 5 grand a month, you get to the point you do 5 grand a month. Let's go back to the guy that was 42. He had $1.2 million in the stock market he couldn't touch. Well, if he had 1.2 million bucks, but he also had $5,000 of tax-free income coming in, guess what he could do? What I did, I went from full-time to part-time. It's all about your time. That's the most important thing, which leads us to step number 3. You want to invest like the wealthy people invest. What do? Remember, they own assets. They own real estate. They set this up and it does not involve their time. We're only making money to make active income, which is taxed the highest, which involves our time. When I first started, I started investing in real estate syndications. They don't involve my time. I can still put my money in a 401k, getting that compound growth, but I'm investing for this is how I look at it. I'm investing for the future in the stock market, which is when I'm 60 or older, maybe when they put me in a nursing home or assisted living or something like that, or I just want some lagniappe. But my main focus is passive income. That should be your main focus if you want to get to the point that work is optional. Focus on that. $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, just anything. Because right now, if this is your active income and this is your passive, right now it probably looks something like this. So here's zero down here. More than likely, it's this, and then you're probably here. But as it starts growing to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, more and more, what you can do, you can start to decrease this. And then once it gets to the point that this is half of this, you know, if this is 100 grand a year, we'll divide that by 12. Let's say it's $120,000 divided by 12. Let's say this is 120 grand right here. And then once you get to the point right here, and this is $10,000 per month, well, that's the same, but that's basically the same thing. You know, 10,000 times 12 months, that's $120,000. Well, once you get there, you're financially free. And then if it goes this way, again, the most important thing is this frees up your time. This is freeing up your time. This is taking your time. This is the most important thing right here. Passive income, syndications, that's what I did. I started networking, which is what got me to this point. I started networking outside of dentistry. This changed everything. I would go to a dental meeting with other dentists, and we were there to get our CE, our continuing education. We're all there the majority of the time because we have to be there. So what are we doing? We're waiting on the code. We can write it down, or the QR code or whatever, so we can log that in because we have to be there. So people, think about it. If you're constantly doing that, I was constantly doing that for the first 12 to 15 years of my practice. And I was around people that really didn't want to be there. They had to be there. What am I going to learn from them? How am I going to grow with them? I'm not. Once I got away from that, hurt my hands, I said, I got to go around where wealthy people are that want to grow, that have the same goals as me. They have the escape plan, the passive income goals. Once you do that, once you start surrounding yourself with other investors, with business owners, that will start to change your mindset. Right now, I'm only working 15 to 16 hours a week. Before, it was over 40 hours a week. Why? Because of this. My passive income covers my expenses. I have not retired. I've just made it to the point the work is optional. I'm sharing my story to hopefully inspire you. Look, if you take nothing else from this video, remember this. Nothing will change until you change. Nothing changes until you decide to change. Most people wake up every morning and they relive the same financial struggles over and over again, just like Phil in Groundhog Day, but you don't have to. Remember, step number 1, track your expenses today. Step number 2, set the passive income goal. Even if it's just $1,000 a month. Step number 3, start investing in real assets, not just Wall Street's retirement game. Because again, if you don't take control of your future, your financial future, somebody else will. And if you want to learn more about my favorite investment outside of Wall Street, outside of the stock market, check out this video.